Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Voice Options webinar introducing the Voice Options program funded by the California Public Utilities Commission. So what is Voice Options is the question. Voice Options is connecting Californians with speech-language disabilities with iPads and speech applications. I'll share a little bit more about those later on. This Voice Options is also a pilot project funded by the California Public Utilities Commission. And our official launch day for the Voice Options program was January 11th on 2017. And we currently have 10 demonstration sites statewide. We're piloting a distribution model of 10 sites located between independent living centers and assistive technology centers statewide. We've been working with the Communication Technology Education Center to train our staff how to provide demonstrations using the 5 apps. They're also known as Supported Live, or we call them CTEC. We have been collaborating with West Ed, who is our independent evaluator, going to give us recommendations on how we can make the program better. They're also evaluating our program design and the distribution of the iPads and the services that we're providing in this program. We have also developed a website and some outreach materials. Those are found on our website. It's voiceoptions.org, and you can look through there and it tells you more about the program. It'll list out the centers that we have in the state of California to work with you. The limitations of our pilot program is that we have 200 iPads for a long-term loan. I'll go into the long-term loans in just a minute. And our demonstration sites are only contracted through September 30th. So basically we're giving away 200 long-term loans or iPads with a speech disability application on it by September 30th of 2017. How does Voice Options work? If you or someone you know has a speech disability, this program's for you. This is somebody that identifies as having a speech disability. Step one, how does it work? You find a demonstration center and schedule a demonstration. If this demonstration is not located near you, nearby, then call the nearest Voice Options Center and you can set up a remote demonstration kind of like what we're doing today. They will set up a visual for you to see the iPads and what they're doing, and you can learn about the applications that way. Our 10 demonstration sites we have one in Redding, and they are called Disability Action Center. Sacramento, we have California Foundation for Independent Living Centers. Grass Valley, we have Freed Center for Independent Living. San Jose, we have Silicon Valley Independent Living Centers. And Salinas has Central Coast Center for Independent Living. Anaheim is Team of Advocates for Special Kids. Los Angeles, we have Empower Tech. Santa Ana, we have Assistive Technology Exchange Center. And San Bernardino, we have Rolling Start, Inc. And San Diego is San Diego Assistive Technology Center. So step two, you experience a demonstration of the 5 speech apps on an iPad. During this speech, the demonstration, you can bring your family members, caregivers, or friends to be the part of you. During the demonstration process, you'll sit down with one of our Voice Option team members and you will be able to receive demonstration app by app and how to use it. If you have a particular application that you like better, the Voice Options staff will be able to give you more information and more training on that one app. While you're there, there'll be an iPad for the consumer that needs the speech app so they can touch the screen and use it as during the demonstration. There'll also be an app for the family and friends so that they can do it as well. Sometimes our participants need a little more assistance, and it's nice to have a caregiver that can help and assist with the apps. And then the person doing the demonstration will be holding an iPad to demonstrate for you. If you have any questions at any time, please raise your hand by clicking the hand button on your screen or typing in a question. Be happy to answer them as we go. So the 5 speech applications that were designed and utilized for our program were Touch Chat HD, Go Talk Now Plus, and LAMP. These are more picture-based programs for people that cannot read or write at this time. And then Proloquo for text, and Predictable are reading and writing applications.
Kevin, it looks like somebody came in with, somebody has a question.
Yeah, do you offer accessories like key guards, cases, etc., in addition to the iPad? Yes, and I think one of my next 2 or 3 slides will show the options that we offer with that. So if we could just get to that slide, that'll work. All right, that'll work. Okay, so then the step 3 is after the demonstration. If you think the app would work for you, you can borrow an iPad with all 5 of the speech apps in your everyday life, to use in your everyday life for 2 weeks or 30 days. If you feel like you need more time on how to use one of these applications, you can call the Voice Options Center, and they can arrange more time to do more training on specific applications. You know, when you're learning about 5 apps all initially, it's overwhelming, and sometimes we'd use it for a couple days, couple weeks, and we have more questions. And this is the Voice Options staff is always welcome or happy to arrange more training time. There are other accessories, like we were just asked, that we can borrow for this. So each of the iPads, each center has 4 iPads with OtterBox cases on them, and then we have 4 with a chat wrap case that has speakers attached to the chat wrap device. I'll show you a picture in just a moment. And a screen protector goes on the ones with the chat wrap. Bluetooth speakers can be borrowed and used with the OtterBox case, or a Bluetooth keyboard. We offer a floor mount that just sits on the ground and can be adjusted up or down for use. Then we also offer a table wheelchair mount and a modular hose mount. And let's see if I have pictures of all of those right here. So the top left would be the floor standing mount. The top center is the chat wrap, and then the bottom center is the back side of the chat wrap, although ours look a little bit different. The top right is a flexible hose mount that attaches to wheelchairs or tables by 2 clamps, and they hold the iPad which would be encased in an OtterBox. Below on the bottom right is a picture of the keyboard, the Bluetooth keyboard that will work with the iPad so that you can type in your messages to read. And then the last image that we have is the lock line mount, which is in the bottom left of our screen, and this mount will attach to tabletops and most wheelchairs. So those are the mounts. Does that answer your question okay? Also, they say also wondering about key guards for folks who need extra support with access. For the pilot project, we do not have any key guards that we loan out or buy for the individuals. The reason being is most of the applications, as you'll see later on, have different variations of buttons that you can put on. Here in the top center, you can see this is the Touch Chat HD or LAMP app, and it'll go anywhere from, I think, 32 apps to 132 buttons on the page to 108, and it's hard to know what's going to be used for each individual. How many buttons on the page would be different for each app and configuration. Yeah. So eventually, this is a pilot. It is possible that the key guards are added. If this goes on to a permanent long-term program, we may be able to add some key guards. But it's really hard to do that because there's so many different variations out there, and to get the right one for the right person is difficult. But we're definitely looking into that for future needs. So step 4, if you find one or more of the speech apps help you communicate, you can apply to borrow an iPad with your favorite speech app for a long-term loan. So you can, if you do a short-term loan for that 14 to 30 days and you decide that, hey, you know, I really like this one application, you can fill out a long-term loan application and apply for a long-term loan of an iPad with a speech app and the accessories that I just mentioned to help you be more independent with your speech. So the demonstration process, you start with the demonstration, you come into a center, or you do a long-term loan, or you do a long-distance demonstration, kind of like what we're doing now. If you find an app that you like, you apply, or you do a short-term loan for 14 to 30 days, and then the long-term loan, as long as an individual is using the app and application or iPad in the application, they may keep it as long as needed. The long-term loan is that as long as it's being used for a consumer that has a speech disability, they can keep it as long as they'd like, months, years, however long they'd like. We just ask that when you're done using it, that you turn it back into the Voice Options Center you got it from. So let's go through a scenario on how the center might work for us. I come into a demonstration center and I get interested. I get a demonstration on the 5 speech applications, and if it works really good and I think I like one of the apps and it might help me, then I can apply for a short-term loan and test out the 5 apps. If you're not interested at this point, that's fine. We can refer you to SLPs and other resources in your area. If you short-term loan you like and you want it, then you can apply for a long-term loan. At this point, you identify an app and the accessories that you need to make the iPad work for you and your needs. And then the catch is you need to get a professional verification of need that you do to confirm that you do have a speech disability, and that would be a doctor, a DOR counselor, an SLP, or a physician assistant. And once you're approved, if you're not interested, then we can give you, again, refer you to SLPs in your area and other resources. But if you are approved, you'll receive the iPad, the speech app, and the speech app comes with a code. The code is only good for the application of choice, and then any of the accessories that we mentioned above will be provided for you. The long-term loans are picked up at the Voice Options Centers, and the Voice Options staff help you get the things put together, the apps installed through your iTunes account, and then they're also able to update. So if you use the iPad and you develop a voice vocabulary in your application of choice, they can store it on a Dropbox file on the cloud, and then once you get your long-term loan, they can restore your voice options that you created and restore that so you don't have to redo all the work once you're done. So it looks like that's all of my slides that I had. I thought there were a couple more, Stephen. Is there any questions so far?
Kevin, you had more slides than that?
Yeah, the slides, we basically, so to date, as of Friday, we've had 163 short-term loans performed, and we've approved 85 long-term loans. And then the ages, you know, we have about 15 people, 34 people between the ages of 0 and actually it's more like 3 and 17.
Hey, and, Kevin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they didn't transfer over, but let me.
That's okay.
I can upload.
I'm almost done. Don't worry about it. I'm almost done. And then we have between the ages of 23 and 29, we have 12 people that have been approved. Between the ages of 30 and 39. We have 12 people that improved, and then 40 to 49, 5, and then 50 to 59, we're looking at 11, and 15 people are 60 years or older that have applied for a long-term loan. Janice asks, how did you choose the 5 apps? Was there a selection process? Yes, Janice, we were working with, we had a technical work group that we've been working with for the last 3 years. This program has taken over 3 years to plan and implement, and they were SLPs, and they were working and debating back and forth between the 5 apps that they should use in the pilot, and those are the 5 apps that they chose at the time. And so through the pilot, we're using those 5 apps. During the evaluation process, we're going to look at maybe changing 1 or 2 of the apps and looking at different ones altogether. So the selection committee of SLPs, doctors, and professionals that work with speech language disabilities that work for the state of California as well, to answer your question. Anthony asks, why not Android? Just wondering. Androids were considered. A lot of the speech apps that they were looking at, I'm not sure if they were available in both iPad and voice options. The iPad was the predominant iPad on the market, and so they just went with that. That's one of the other considerations that we're thinking about implementing and we're looking into if this program becomes more than just a pilot. I prefer the Android myself, so, but that's kind of, you know, it was just, we wanted to keep it simple with one app. And it looks like Janice is writing another question. Okay, I see. Do you know of other states that are doing this project? Janice, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. I haven't heard of any. This is funded again by this California Public Utilities Commission, and there was a tax that was passed on all mobile devices. So if you look at your cellular phone bill, there's a tax on it, and that tax is funding this program and other programs as well. And so that's how we got the funding from it. And it looks like the 860544 is typing a question. It says the verification form of professional form a professional. Does this need to be a report specific to the app? No, it doesn't. The Voice Options Center fills out the application with all the personal information of the individual, the name, address, birth date. The individual fills out the part, says what are they going to use the application for, or the app for, and then they take the application to one of the professionals listed above, and they get an autograph and a signature from them. And they're just stating that yes, this person does have a speech disability. The next question is, with information from the trials, does this need to be report specific to the app? So are you asking if report information is given out? well, yeah. Oh, so I answered your question. Okay, good. Good. But yes, so part of the program is the center staff are not SLPs, they're not doctors, they're not DOR counselors, and we're not qualified to approve or say someone does have a speech disability or not. So it's a self-advocacy program. The individual with the disability says I have a disability, but then they have to get a verification from a professional, and at this time our staff is not qualified to make that designation or not. It's a full report. No, it's just a signature basically. They fill out their name, the company they work for, the credentials. If there's a license number, they include that, and then they sign, and that's all I need. The application does also list up what kind of information they need and want. So there's the picture, the next picture that I had earlier. 12% Asian, African American is 11%, white is 38%, and Hispanic is 29%. The multi are people that I can't think of the word. They identified with 2 ethnicities, and then 1% Filipino. According to the makeup of state of California, it's pretty close to what the percentages of ethnicities are in the state, living in the state. And so here's the age trends. The number inside the pie chart is how many people in that age group have applied for a long-term loan. And it works out to be about 52% are 23 years old or older in this project. And are there any other questions that you have? If there's not any more questions, there is a second part. Yes, can a family apply for a student individual? Yes, a family can apply for on behalf of the student. We're not trying to advertise to schools as a whole to come join the program. Individuals and families, yes, but not, we for lack of a better way to say it, we just not equipped to have schools or school districts call all of our centers for applications. It's kind of a word of mouth right now. Apply. So yes, a student can apply. Yes, to answer your questions. Any other questions? Thank you, Marissa. And looks like Marissa's typing up a question. Okay, can a family apply online via Skype for the first part if they live far away? What I have instructed the centers to do, Marissa, that's a good question, is if you live far away and you're interested in getting a demonstration, I tell my centers that they should skip the step 1 for do the demonstration and skip to part 2. Part 2 is requesting a short-term loan. And to get a short-term loan, the family or the person asking for the loan needs to sign a release of liability form saying, yes, I know that the iPad belongs to the Voice Option Center and I'll return it after the 1430 days. Once we get this signed from the individual, I have then asked the centers to mail the iPad to the consumer so that they can arrange a live webinar, a remote webinar on a training on how to use it, a demonstration. The reason I want that done is because if you sit here at your computer and watch it and then you say, oh, I like that, then you have to wait 3 to 5 days for the iPad to ship, you forget a lot. So if you can have your iPad present and use it during the demonstration, I think there's going to be a better success rate for the individual using it, and then you'd be able to ask more personal questions to the voice options staff as well. Looks like we have one more question coming. Okay, and the question is there a presentation about how to use the apps to develop language specifically with the symbol-based programs? Yes, there is. Yeah, well, that's why, like for the adults on how to teach their kids is the question. So yes, that's why we ask for the caregiver or the family member to come in for the demonstration and any additional training they may need. And that's a great question. As well, the next part of our presentation is going to be Megan Cowdell, who is going to introduce you to each of the 5 apps. She's going to do a quick overview of each of the apps on there, if there are on the iPads. If there aren't any more questions, we'll turn the time over to Megan. Any more questions? All right, without any further ado, we'll turn the time over to Megan. She's going to share her screen so that you can see a live demonstration of what you do. We know that there's a little bit of a lag between what she's doing on the iPad to what you see on the screen. Please be patient. It's the best we could do at this time. Thank you. Megan, the time is yours.
Everybody, give me just a moment to get set up here, and I'm also going to forewarn you, I do have a cold right now, so if you hear me coughing, that is the reason why. Okay, everyone. Unfortunately, it seems like we are having technical difficulties, so my screen share is not going to work this morning. So I'm just going to have to do an overview with you, just talking. So I will go through the apps. If we do get this set up someday later, I'll maybe record a session that we can upload for people to watch. So we have on our pilot program, we have 5 different speech-language communication apps. 2 of them are only text and keyboard-based, and then 3 of them are icon and photo-based. So the first app that is text and keyboard-based is called Predictable. Predictable has a lot of word prediction. In the bubble where you type in your message, there's going to be a bubble that pops up underneath that predicts words as you're typing. And there's also a word prediction strip above your keyboard. So it predicts sentences and words in 2 locations. You can add custom phrases to Predictable. So if it's something you say a lot, you can add phrases. It has categories that you can save them into, like favorites or chat or food and drink. So you can add things that you say a lot, so you don't need to type them again. Predictable does have different voice customization. You have different voices that you can use. And it also has color customization, so you can change the color of the keyboard and the screen that you're working off of. The really cool thing a lot of people like about Predictable is it has what they call quick emote buttons. And this means that it can share sounds. So it can share a laughing sound, a coughing sound, a whistle. It even has a kissing sound, so a lot of people like that feature. And it also has what's called their floor hold feature. And if you're a person who's using an iPad to communicate, you'll often notice that people cut you off as you're typing because it takes longer to type your message than it does to speak it. So the floor hold message, you can choose to set it off every 30 seconds or to set it off when you want. And it just lets people know to please be patient while I'm typing my message. So this is Predictable. Of the 2 apps that use text only, Predictable is a little bigger, so it's a little more accessible for people who are low vision. So that's the one big difference about it. So anybody have questions on Predictable? I know it's hard since you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, looks like Marissa's typing. Yes, the bubble prediction is removable, and for both the prediction parts, the bubble prediction and the strip prediction, you can choose to have 1 or 2 words predicted at a time, but it is removable. That's a good question. Thank you, Marissa. Anybody else right now? Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and move on to the other app that is just for text. This is called Proloquo for Text. They also have an icon-based version just called Proloquo. A lot of people are familiar with that, but this one is just the text version. Proloquo for Text is one of my favorites to use. I wish I could show you my screen right now. I have it customized in a rainbow setting. Proloquo for Text, in the center of the screen, there's your message window. You can increase the font here to be pretty large, but the keyboard that Proloquo uses is the standard Apple iOS keyboard, so you can't increase the keyboard size. Proloquo has 2 bars off to the side. On the left side, there's a section for phrases. And the phrases is in different categories. So there's an About Me section, a section for health information, for social, for meals. So in these sections, people can program things they say a lot. That way they don't have to type it as much. There also on the left side, you can switch from phrases to conversations. This is a really neat feature of Proloquo for Text, is the conversation setting. So as I mentioned earlier, if you're somebody who uses an iPad to communicate, people aren't used to waiting for you to respond, so they'll cut you off. So say somebody asked me a question, they said, "Hey Megan, how are you doing today?" And I'm starting to type my response, but then they cut me off and they asked me a second question. On the Proloquo app, you can save conversations. So I already started typing my "I'm feel okay today, thank you." I already started typing that, but I got cut off. So they asked me, "I'm so sorry, I'm told I speak really quickly." So I will slow down right now. So I am already typing my answer to their first question. So I can actually start a new conversation and answer their second question. And then when I'm done, I can go back to my original question. And this is a really nice feature because I haven't lost the work I started on earlier. So this way I can have multiple conversations going on at one time. And they also have sentence prediction on the left side. So if you type something out a lot, Proloquo, they both start with P's, it's throwing me off. Proloquo it'll pay attention to what you're typing and it'll predict what sentence you might want to use first. So that's on the left side of the screen are those 3 different menus, the phrases, the conversations, and the sentence prediction. And then on the right side of the screen, we have a quick talk section. And the quick talk section has different phrases pre-programmed in here. So there's a button that if you just tap it, it'll say, "Please be patient while I write my message." There's a button that says, "Thank you," or "How are you?" And you can customize these, so if you don't like what's here, you can change it. But the cool feature about the Quick Talk section is if I'm typing my main message in the center of the screen, I can still click on one of these to the side, and my iPad will speak that message and then go back to what I was typing. So that's the Quick Talk. It also has history. So Proloquo will track what you've typed for the last 15 minutes. So say I answered your question, I said, "I'm good today," and I had already cleared it out of my message screen, and you didn't hear what I said, I can go to my history and reselect that sentence instead of typing it again. So that's this one. It also has the ability to expand your screen. So maybe you're in a class presentation and you want to show people what's actually written on your screen, you can make the text that you've typed full screen so people can read it from across the room. So that's an option with Proloquo. Does anybody have questions on this app? Okay, I don't see anyone typing, so if you do, we can come back to that. I'm going to move on to Go Talk Now Plus. And Go Talk Now Plus is the first of our photo icon only apps. Go Talk does come with a preset communication book, but it's also a really great app for people that want to make something completely custom. You can start from scratch. And I did that here, so I'll just go through what my book is. So I have my book set up with 4 pictures on it. You can do anywhere from 4 up to 30, from 1 photo on a page up to 36 photos. So Go Talk goes from 1 button to 36 buttons on a page. And they can link. So I have a button on my page that says I want. And when I click my I want button, it's going to speak I want, and it will also link to a page with more choices. So for mine, I programmed to eat, to drink, to watch, and to read. So this is letting me pick what I want to say and form a sentence. And I think Marissa's typing a question, so we'll wait for her. Yeah, can I? Okay, everybody, it seems the laptop I'm on is not working so well. I'm going to move to Kevin's computer, so I will be speaking as Kevin. Just one moment. Okay, can everyone hear me better? Perfect, thank you. It seems like that iPad I was on we were logged on there so I could share my screen, but that ended up not working anyways. So I'm just going to use Kevin's desk. So I'll start over with GoTalk Now. GoTalk Now, as I mentioned, is the first photo icon-based app that we're using. And GoTalk Now, you can make a completely custom book. And I did that. I wish I could show it to you now, but I will just walk through it. So GoTalk Now, you can have 1 to 36 buttons on a page. This is a really nice choice. It allows you to start small, maybe, if you're a person who's new to this, and then you can expand on your vocabulary the more you learn. So I have a page here, and one of my buttons says I want. And when I select my I want button, it'll speak the words I want, and it's going to link to a page of wants. And on my page of wants, I just have programmed 4 buttons here. One says to eat, one says to drink, one says to watch, and one says to read. And when I hit one of these buttons, it'll link to a page that has words that associate to that category. So when I select my to eat button, my iPad will speak to eat, and then it'll bring me to a page with food, and I can select which food I want from that page. So that's one of the first things on this setting. I also have a page of feelings set up, so I'll put I feel, and it links to a page of feelings, so I can tell people if I'm happy or angry or sad. And another cool thing about this app is you can add your own photos. So you can add photos that are saved onto your iPad. You can take photos with the camera from your iPad, or you can do an internet search. So if you want to add, maybe under watch, you want to add a photo of your favorite movie, the cover from your favorite movie, you can do an internet search and add that here. You can also upload videos. So if you have a video maybe of you waving hello to the camera, you can upload that and it'll play your video when you select that button. And there's also what they call scene pages. And a scene page is where you maybe have a photo of a place. So I set mine up with a photo of a living room. And I can select different pages on the screen and it'll speak what I programmed. So on my living room page, I highlighted the couch. And when I touch the couch, it'll read couch. And I highlighted my bed for my bedroom, and when I touch bed, it'll read bed. So the scene pages, you can really be dynamic and show folks what you want in a room or in a location. So that's a really cool feature, is the scene pages. Does anybody have questions right now on GoTalk Now? Okay, great. So we're going to move on then to TouchChat. TouchChat HD is the name of the app that we have here. And it has a ton of different vocabulary pages. And it has pages from as small as 4 buttons to a page to as many as, let's see, 108 buttons on a page. So TouchChat can really grow with the person using it. I've had a lot of people that start at 4, and after their short-term loan, they've graduated up to maybe 15 buttons on a page. The nice thing is with this app, you do get all of the vocabularies included. So you can graduate later if you want to. You can build up your ability and your communication. TouchChat does have the pre-built out books, so you don't need to do as much customizing as GoTalk Now. In TouchChat, you can also edit the books. So you can add in your own photos, your own messages, your own text. You can color coordinate it. You can do all of those things on TouchChat. And the way TouchChat works is it just brings up a page of pictures, or sometimes it has words, so it'll say I, you, me, little go, little small words like that. And you'll hit what you want. So on this one, I'm going to hit, I have a page up with just 4 buttons on the page. So this is the most basic setting, just so you know what I'm looking at. In my 4 buttons, it says I want, categories, social, and about me. So I'm going to hit I want, and then it pops up another page of choices. So I'm going to hit to drink, and it popped up another page of choices, and I'm going to hit water. So this one is pretty similar to GoTalk the way I set it up, but it predicts what you'll need to say. So if you say I want, it'll bring up a page of wants, and if you want drink, it'll bring up a page of drinks. So that's how the Touch Chat app works. It does put your words into a sentence bar at the top. So when you're ready to speak your whole sentence, you can click on the sentence bar and it'll speak everything that you have selected so far. Does anyone have questions on Touch Chat? I know it's hard since you can't see what I'm looking at. Okay, great. So we're going to go on then to our last app, which is LAMP Words for Life. And LAMP is the same layout for editing as Touch Chat. So if you learn how to edit Touch Chat, you will be able to edit LAMP as well. They have the same platform. LAMP has only 3 different vocabulary choices, and all of them are going to have 84 pictures on a page. So LAMP doesn't have quite as many customizing options as Touch Chat does. It's going to be 84 buttons on the page. LAMP is using what's called the Unity language. So if you're a person that grew up using a communication book, you might be familiar with the Unity language. And the Unity language is a picture language, and a lot of the pictures have double meaning. So here on my LAMP app, let's see what's a unique one. So there's the word need. The picture for the word need is a hand holding an umbrella. And if I hit need, it's going to pop up words associated to need and needing. And it's also going to pop up words associated with weather. And that's because when it's raining, you need an umbrella. So the Unity language, if you grew up with it, this is a great choice for you. But if you're not familiar with it, it does take a little bit longer to learn. So that's what's really unique about LAMP compared to Touch Chat, is just the photos and the language it incorporates. You also can customize this the same as Touch Chat, so you can add your own photos to it if you'd like. And since LAMP does have a vocab set built in that some people may not be too familiar with, they do have a word find option. So if you're trying to find a word, say I'm trying to find happy and I don't know where that's at, I can search in the word finder for happy and it'll tell me what buttons I need to get there. Does anyone have questions on any of these apps that we've talked about briefly? Okay, I don't see anyone typing. So if you do want to learn more about this program voice options, you can give us a call at our 1-800 number, or you can send us an email or visit our website at voiceoptions.org to find the demonstration center near you. I will try and put together a video of this demonstration so that way you guys can watch what I'm doing rather than just hearing it over the phone. Does anyone have anything they would like to add or any questions for the moment? Okay, I'm glad that's helpful, Marissa. I will try and do that this week or next week, and we'll upload it and maybe put it on the Voice Options site. Great, and thank you. Emily shared or Stephen shared our 800 number, so if you do want to call into Voice Options, our phone number here is 1-800-390-2699.